in downtown Moses Lake, when restaurants weren't able to operate at full capacity because of COVID restrictions, the Downtown Moses Lake Association closed off part of the street where a lot of our restaurants were located, so a central section of downtown. And then they brought in tables from the Aquatic Center, which is the water park in Moses Lake, to put out into the street. That way, people were able to eat in the street. It was very pedestrian friendly, and the restaurants were able to stay open and operate. We found that one of the most popular and one of the most positive things that were said about it was that people had been in their house and away from people for that whole year of COVID. So they were able to see people, and they were able to maintain the social distance or whatever it is that made them feel comfortable, but they were still able to be in that one place together, that central location where you were supporting small businesses, you were seeing your friends, you were out in the sun, you were enjoying your community, you were enjoying a common space together. So that was something really big that the association did that I know our community really appreciated, as well as our community restaurants.
During COVID, VDA was able to complete several major art projects in our downtown. One of those art projects being called the 12th and Main Artlet, a large intersection primary entrance point into our Main Street corridor. We were able to activate it through a street mural and I think approximately like 5 or 6 other murals throughout the area to help create an artlet, as we called it. But in addition to this artlet, we also created a parklet because it's COVID, why not? And what that really did for our downtown, especially being a primary entrance point into the downtown district, it created a sense of place, created something exciting and interesting, and something that really provided a lot of joy, especially given the really dark circumstances that we were all facing.
New ordinances allowed for outdoor dining. Businesses were able to open and community members could be among people but distanced. High school grad ceremonies couldn't happen, so the streets were their stage with a cruise and banners for each one. Summer brought the opportunity to make Sela a distanced hangout with car cruises and an ice cream or burger from a local drive-thru.
Caldwell Together was lucky enough to be able to be part of the 90-day activation plan, which Main Street put out towards the end of the pandemic. Through that program, we were able to create 3 parklets for our downtown community. It was also a great opportunity for us to partner with some of our local partners. Realtor Association and some of those other local organizations also wanted to come together with us and take care of our downtown, make it as vibrant as possible. So these 3 little parklets are now along Main Street in Caldwell, and it creates wonderful, dynamic gathering places for our community.
Space is important to the community. We need to make sure that people have places to gather and be together, now more than ever. We worked creatively to make events happen in new ways. We shifted our fiberglass pony unveiling to a drive-through tailgate event in our depot parking lot. It was a fabulous evening that showed off the ponies and artists in a space that had never been used in that way.
People value outdoor spaces during the pandemic, but they also want to get together. And through the First Federal Community Foundation grant, we coordinated Buskers on the Block, and that was 20 performances, and people came and were respectful of the space, and it was a lot of fun. We're also working on a new parklet project, thanks to the City of Port Townsend and the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee grant and Studio STL and local donors, and so that will create more gathering space on Water Street.
During the pandemic, we realized the importance of physical spaces. We already knew how important they were, but we really saw it, especially with our farmers market. Even though it was not a regular farmers market and people kind of had to move through, we didn't usher them through. We let them hang out a little bit, and they loved hanging out. And even though it was not a regular market, just seeing their ability to connect and the joy that they had connecting and just their happiness to get out and do something reinforced what we already knew, and that is that physical public spaces are just imperative to communities.
It was an idea that originated with business owners, was brought to us in the downtown, and then floated up to our city to help figure out how to make it reality. There was logistical details like how do you close down a busy street in the middle of downtown, as well as financial ones. How do we get the right tables and chairs and umbrellas to not just make this a space people can be, but a space that they feel comfortable and welcome in. The city of Walla Walla, through CARES Act funding, helped put up the lights, helped buy all the tables and chairs and umbrellas, and created the design elements that make this space so amazing. At the same time, those design elements are just the beginning of the effort. It's helped stimulate the economy and the economic vitality of the businesses right around us, as well as those within the adjacent streets who get to benefit from the street traffic, foot traffic that is generated here. It's also something that I see used by everyone in our community. Historically, we have often seen downtown business people, wine tourists, groups that are very important. But in a space like this, we see a lot more families, we see a lot more college students, we see a lot more older people coming out to enjoy a space that's incredible. And as this year we've started to program it, we see new and different people down here every week. Whether they're here to see a summer concert or attend a fundraiser or otherwise enjoy this public space, we are very happy that they have chosen to be here in the heart of our community.